welcome to the debate. I'm your host, Maqbool, with you at PTV World. In today's show, we will be taking a look at the recent political developments in the country, particularly, of course, with what is going on since May 9th, which, of course, has been observed as a black day in the country. And a lot has happened since then as well in terms of course, the party of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, and with regards to the way that the legal proceedings have gone further too in terms of the PTI chairman and the former Prime Minister, Imran Khan, and a number of cases, of course, that have been registered against him. We have seen in the aftermath of May 9th, a number of senior party leaders have spoken to the media and have talked about how this is something that has made them realize that this is not good for the country and that they condemn the incidents of May 9th and they have decided to leave the party or politics. And various, of course, press conferences we've been hearing the similar sentiment that is being echoed by the PTI leaders. And this is important also in terms of what is going on and the way that the accountability is now flowing. Of course, we know that the Chief of Army Staff and the Prime Minister and the senior military and political leadership of the country, all of them reiterated that there will be consequences for those who have been part of the violence of May 9th and that no one will be spared in this regard. And we've seen that the repercussions of that have also materialized. And it's important, of course, to see where that accountability is going to go and how involved will be the PTI chairman, Imran Khan, within these cases as well. We also know that with regards to Al-Qaeda Trust, a number of other cases, his name has also been put up at the ECL, and there are also reports that the name of his wife is also going to be part of the list, among many other political party leaders of PTI as well. Then again, we also keep on saying what we have been hearing in the past as well, how the rhetoric of the PTI chairman keeps on changing. And initially, what was a stance that we have been hearing from him coming in with regards to political dialogue and negotiations with the ruling coalition, he has always spoken about how he does not want to sit down with so-called thieves and that this is not something that the PTI chairman wants to continue. But of course, in the recent days, we've seen a change of stance once again with Imran Khan making appeals with regards to negotiations and dialogue with the government, talking about how this is the need of the hour. And this is not being met with a positive response by the government. We've also seen that despite that, he has also formed a 7-member committee. He has made some reshuffling within the party, also announced his successors. And this is important in terms of what the future may be of the party and, of course, what the PTI chairman plans in terms of what the next step is going to be. As always, is also talked about some sort of a surprise, but of course it remains to be seen what exactly that's going to be. So we're going to take a closer look at what is currently going on within the political party, how this is impacting the political dynamics of the country, and what sort of a decision will be there from the government, especially with regards to negotiations. There is, of course, some leaders claiming that there needs to be an apology first for May 9th, but whether or not that is going to be enough is also something that we'll explore further in the show today. And then, of course, with regards to the treatment of the political prisoners of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, there seems to be a lot of talk regarding the kind of behavior that is being meted out to them and the way, of course, that the PTI chairman has pointed out as to what is going on. And we'll try and see that as well in terms of whether or not something cruel is happening as accused by the PTI chairman, and how we're going to proceed forward in terms of whether or not this is something that is related to May 9th violence and the consequences of certain actions. So this is what we're going to talk about in the show today. As always, in the studios, I've been joined by senior analyst Farrukh Pitafi. We've also been joined in the studios by Mr. Naveed Aman, who's a senior analyst. Also, we've been joined online by Dr. Niaz, Murtaza, senior political analyst. Thank you very much, everyone, for being a part of the debate. I'll start with you, Naveed. When we take a look at this current situation, of course, it seems that the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is in quite a mess. A number of party leaders have announced that they're going to leave politics, so they're leaving the party. They've condemned May 9th. And the PTI chairman himself is making moves which are implying that there is some serious shift within the party, especially in terms of the reshuffle within the party and then naming his successors as well. What exactly do you think is going on with the PTI? And of course, we've been hearing this coming in from PMLN leaders that the party is disintegrating and there's nothing no more. But in terms of the PTI chairman's own words, he says that he's there to stay. But what's really going on?
In fact, Sana, if we have a look on the politics of Imran Khan always makes wrong decisions on the wrong time. If you have a look on 2014, he at the stage when Army Public School incident was happened, it happened and Imran Khan decided to get married. The nation was mourning and he got married at that time. And number two, he decided to divorce his wife at the time when he was going in the elections, local government elections. This time, on May 9, May 8, it was all okay. On May 9, the table was turned and Imran Khan himself turned his table. He should not have gone for such violence. It was not protest, it was not agitation, it was terrorism. And terrorism was designed and organized by himself. He himself directed his companions, the politicians, the workers to go for such target attacks, number one. Number two is, he was hopeless and desperate enough that he cannot come in the power again. So he decided to go in such a desperate way. This is not the way of any politician. Politicians are sometime in the government and the other time they are in the opposition. It makes them, it trains them as a politician. Sometimes you learn in the government and sometimes you learn in the opposition. But Imran Khan was not ready to learn anything either in the government or in the opposition. Imran Khan, his companions have left him. They should have left him when he was doing bad things, but he was before May 9. He has been doing all bad things before May 9 as well. But they decided to leave him when he was very weak and he was on.
Right, but the PTI chairman claims that a lot of them, in fact, are doing this under duress. Do you
No,
agree?
no. No, you need to understand the dynamics of the situation. When the companions started leaving Imran Khan was in very, very weak position because all the baggage was on his shoulder of the incident of May 9. Imran Khan himself, he refused to acknowledge or he refused to own his workers who attacked in different incidents like GHQ attack, Corps Commander attack, Toll Plaza attack, or Peshawar Pakistan Peshawar attack, or many attacks. Those who were caught, Imran refused to accept them or to back them. Same way, when Imran was in trouble, all the companions, when they felt that Imran is no more in the politics, in the scene of the politics in future, they decided to quit and they decided to disown Imran Khan. And Imran Khan is now alone in Zaman Park. This is the same Zaman Park which was surrounded by hundreds of thousands of companions and workers and the politicians, but all of them, I don't think that those politicians who are in the jail, they are the politicians, they are the miscreants. So don't mix the miscreants and the politicians who are in the jail. So what I think, Imran Khan will meet his fate, and he has only 4 options left with him.
Okay.
Number 1, he should be sent to exile. Number 2, he is likely to be hanged. Number 3, he is likely to be sentenced for life. Number 4, he should be given pardon and set free. But I don't think the state is ready to set him free. Once again, once he has done that work, that thing which has never been exercised in Pakistan.
All right, and I want to talk about that a bit more. So let me also welcome in the discussion Dr. Niaz. When we take a look at the current situation, I want to understand where the PTI stands at the moment? Of course, all indicators seem to be pointing towards the isolation of the PTI chairman, or the fact that the party has no future, or that even if there are elections, they might not be able to secure seats. But the PTI chairman keeps on claiming otherwise and thinks otherwise. And regarding what Naveed Saab was saying and the kind of options that he's talking about, are they really the only ones left for the PTI chairman?
Well, it's a completely different, political chessboard now after May 9th. And, it reminds me of the fateful August 17th speech that Altaf Hussain had made, encouraging his supporters into violence, which completely changed the game. And, he just got banished from Pakistani politics. It's, that kind of a moment that we are seeing. I think the PTI very badly misread the situation and did not realize what would happen if they attack army installations, because there was, all these rumors of, even some support for PTI within the ranks. And now what you have is a completely united rank dead against the PTI. And, whatever sympathies they may have, they are, keeping them very low. And they're all behind, the flag, united behind the leadership. That said, and then there is all this exodus that is suddenly and mysteriously happening. We should make sure that an impression is not created that this is happening under duress or under intimidation, people being sent to jail, coming out completely different. Because remember, we'll have the European Union coming in to be the election observers. And they wrote a very bad report for 2018, and we should avoid things that will, force them to write the same kind of report for 2023. And I'm hoping that the elections will still be held in October or November, according to the Constitution. So I think there is a lot of blame to be laid at the footsteps of Imran Khan, his bad political judgments, his extremely arrogant attitude, the kind of politics, divisive, polarized, populist, and now towards the end, even anarchist politics. And, it was extremely important that Pakistan get this kind of politics out of its, system. But it should have happened through a political process where, the other parties should have developed a political rhetoric to, defeat this kind of politics. And that's not happened. It's happening through legal, administrative channels. And, that will have a long-term cost. In the short run, I think the powers that be will get what they want. And I don't really see a future for Imran Khan in this election. And perhaps never, given, his age, his advanced age, and the fast speed at which, his supporters are leaving him, his top leaders. You can't be a one-man party. Yes, he's popular, but a lot of his support came from the electables who are leaving him. A lot of his support is coming from the high inflation. If that subsides, the support will also subside, and then he'll be left with, his core supporters and, the upper middle class who are hooked to the social media, who believe everything that the PTI puts out, and, just can't see beyond him. So all in all, the 2023 election scenario is completely changed. And I would be surprised if PTI crosses 60 to 70 seats in this changed scenario.
All right. Farrukh, the situation also, of course, includes the PTI chairman calling for a dialogue and saying that this is the way forward, and it's important now to have a conversation, which is something that is surprising to hear coming from him. But also in terms of what we have seen, the response hasn't been very positive so far. And of course, PMLN leaders have pointed out how what has happened so far, especially with regards to May 9th and the kind of actions and statements that the PTI chairman has given previously as well, that this is not something that they want to discuss. This is not someone that they want to discuss with, and that they will not be negotiating with such a man. Despite that, he's formed a 7-member committee. But exactly what will be that committee doing, or who will they be approaching? And do you think whether whatever statements are coming in from the ruling elite, there still is a possibility of dialogue?
Right, Sana, and that is most fascinating question. And I'm going to approach it. But before that, I want to address another question you raised when Naveed Saab was saying that many people are leaving the party, and you pointed out that Imran Khan Saab believes that they are doing so under duress. So there is a very interesting test case. Abdarul Haq is a celebrity turned politician whose entire making is from PTI. He owes everything to PTI. So amazingly, you must have seen that presser where he got emotional and he had to face his cover his face when he was telling that he's parting ways with PTI. Amazingly, surprise, surprise, after a couple of days, he was found in London. What was he doing in London? He was in an event that was to promote a housing society by Abdul Aleem Khan, one of the arch rivals of Imran Khan, his strange friends, right? And there he was found singing, songs in praise of current army chief on stage. I'm not kidding, right? Then he steps out and he is slapped by a PTI worker. So if you think that all of this is some kind of contortion, some kind of creation, then I don't know what is real anymore. But otherwise, I think that those people who are getting away from party, they might come on television, and decency demands that they actually exude some kind of regret or sense of loss. But after that, they can't get quickly away from the party because they know that the jig is up. And what is the jig, Sanam? Again, when you plot a coup, and by the way, Behrouz Sabzwari's purported audio actually came to prominence recently, and he claims that it was fake. But I kept on receiving similar kind of audios on May 9th, suggesting that there is going to be a coup which is going to put Imran Khan Sahab in power. So whenever you have a coup, the coup makers, when they fail, they face consequences, right? Imran Khan Sahab has been saved, in the past so many times by certain quarters in his favor from total jaws of defeat, the jaws of total defeat, that he believes that somehow somebody is going to step up and again save him from consequences of his actions. That is not going to happen. So there is a descending ladder of grief that we call 5 stages of grief. The first one is denial, actually conspiracy theories and all. Second one is anger or aggression. The third one is called bargaining. So you can see where we are at right now. Imran Khan Sahab right now is busy bargaining. After this comes deportation, and after that, if there is a possibility at all, if you can visualize, comes acceptance. But my concern, and I totally agree with Naveed Sahab, regarding Imran Khan Sahab's judgment or lack thereof. In 2008, I remember that Imran Khan Sahab actually out of blue boycotted the election. And right now it seems small potatoes because he has now been former Prime Minister of Pakistan. But at that time, he was known as a Tonga Party's leader who had only 1 seat in the National Assembly in 2002 Assembly, right? So amazingly, Imran Khan Sahab had actually taken a stand against Altaf Hussain, the head, the founder of MKM, and that's why he had found a lot of traction in Karachi. At that time, he boycotts the election. He goes into the next election, and that too with a lot of support, but cannot actually carve his niche the way he wants. So at that time, I was thinking that his judgment is faulty. Then 2018 happened. Many of us were seduced by his charm, his talk, and we ended up voting for him. But later on, sitting here, you be the witness. Let the beautiful audiences of this program be the witness. I have actually repeatedly said that all he had to do after getting out of power was to play victim, do nothing, and just complain about economy. And he would have been made already. But repeatedly, everything that I suggested here, he went in the opposite direction. I said, don't resign from the assemblies. He resigned from the assemblies. Don't remove your governors. He did remove his governors. I said that don't dissolve your assemblies and governments in Punjab and KPK. He did that. I kept on saying, don't play politics on the appointment of army chief. He did go there, and he did exactly what backfired. So with all that, you think that anybody would want to stick their neck out to save him? I don't think so. And this is why he has reached the stage of bargaining. But I don't think there's any taker for his approach for any kind of rapprochement. Remember, all the friends, and I used to consider myself a friend of Imran Khan, all friends can save you from others, not from your own bad judgment or your bad advisor. So at this moment, I don't think anybody would want to step forward and save him.
Right. And Naveed, this is important, especially in terms of how we would like the political dynamic to proceed. Of course, if they're going to we're going to have elections in the country later this year, it's of course going to be important to see how the different political parties are going to feature in those elections and what sort of stance each one will take, what narrative it will be. But do you think that prior to that, there is going to be some sort of resolve with what the future of the PTI chairman is? We understand the name is there on the ECL. We understand the NAB investigation is continuing, and so are a number of other cases which are of course serious allegations on the PTI chairman. And so in terms of how the current government is looking at the future and the possible elections within this year, do you think that the PTI will have really no part to play in that?
Sana, on May 8, Imran Khan PTI was in full command and control, and both were very popular. On May 9, the things were different. Sometime in politics, any decision changes the whole of the scenario or the political panorama. This time again it happened. It was a blessing in disguise for PDM, and it was very, very tough time for Pakistan on May 9. May 9 has really jolted the entire country, the institutions, the social fabric, the political fabric, everything was jolted. But one thing is very important for PDM. On May 9 or onward to May 9, PDM is now in very, very strong commanding position, and they are sympathizing the nation, the armed forces, and those who were targeted and hit in the attacks. Now, if the government decides to go in the elections, the government will be in very, very commanding position and will get the mileage of these incidents. But the answer of your the question, or the second part of your question is this: what will be the fate of Imran Khan? Imran Khan will meet his fate like that of Altaf Hussain, because Imran Khan idealizes Altaf Hussain's politics. And what Altaf Hussain did in desperation, he abused Pakistan, and he the same thing Imran did against Pakistan. When he was hopeless and pessimist that he will come again in the power, he understood that he will never come in the power. But it doesn't mean you start abusing the country or the nation or the armed forces or the institutions. It doesn't like a politician, sensible politician. Imran Khan, his party is dissolved now. Nobody is now remained under him. If we talk about the Mahmoud Rashid or Umar Sarfraz or Yasmin Rashid, people like these three have no status in PTI or in Pakistan politics, and cannot do anything for Imran Khan. Imran Khan now is alone, and Imran Khan will have to face the cases. The cases of corruption aside, the case of May 9 is on the other side. He can be, the government can close eyes from all those cases, but the government cannot close eyes on the incident of May 9.
Right.
And the armed forces, in particular, they will never close eyes on the May 9 incident as far as Imran Khan is concerned.
Of course, I understand that. Dr. Niaz, the situation with what is going on within the PTI also is something which we can see in terms of the PTI chairman nominating or talking about his successors. And we've been, of course, hearing such senior political leaders leave the party. But of course, we still haven't heard from Shah Mahmood Qureshi, and he's also been named a successor, and there's also Pervez Khattak. And then, of course, with reference to what is going on, do you think that this may be a way to keep them within the party, or do you think that really there is a situation that the PTI chairman is foreseeing that he wants to make sure that everything is in order?
Well, that's the unfortunate part of Pakistan. Whoever is in power and on top doesn't believe in dialogue, and that was Imran Khan's attitude from 2018 to 22. Absolute refusal to, talk to the opposition and, just dismiss them as chore and dakus and, I can't sit down with them. And now he's begging for a dialogue. But the unfortunate thing is now the government is not interested in a dialogue, although I feel that, that's still the way forward. All the parties should get together. They should have an agreement like the Charter of Democracy on civilian supremacy and making sure that, other forces do not interfere in politics as they have repeatedly promised to do, but it seems they are breaking their promises or not. The other thing is, if there are cases against Imran Khan, they should be dealt with in, civilian courts. If you start talking about military courts, that's an open admission that you don't have enough admission to try him in a fair trial that would happen in a civilian court of whatever nature. So I think again we should keep in mind, the international reaction, what the international other countries will think about it, the international institutions will think about it. It's important, the 2018 to 2022 period is seen as, a flawed hybrid regime which came to power through rigged elections. We should not have another round of elections which are similarly seen internationally. It's important that they have credibility. And, if your opponent is down, the mature thing is to, take your hand forward and help him get up and, start negotiating with him. He's still, a strong political force. Even if the electables lead, he does have a sizable vote bank that's his alone. So I think
But Dr.
it's
Niaz,
still
I want to
important.
understand the possibility of that happening and what sort of variables need to be sort of considered before any government or political setup makes that decision. Of course, we have seen what happened on May 9. There are parallels being drawn with terrorism. There are other charges on the PTI chairman, a number of cases, and then historically also we've seen the kind of rhetoric and statements he makes. Is this perhaps the way that it should progress, that no matter what a political party or a political party's chairman does, the option of dialogue should still remain on the table?
Well, I mean, they can put some preconditions like, they will say that, they will not condone any violence, they will keep their supporters in control, they'll condemn what happened May 9th and, accept that if some PTI people are involved, they should be punished. But then beyond that, this is politics. And if you're in a situation where every side is doing wrong things, then you can't just, isolate one side as, the evil and just try to pretend that, you are angels, you haven't done anything wrong. There's so many things on which, the government can be, criticized, not holding elections in KP, the heavy-handedness against PTI workers. So I think everybody should look at their own mistakes, and that includes the PTI as well as the government. They should, apologize for whatever they've gone wrong and try to, come together and chart a way forward for Pakistan, because Pakistan can't afford this endless trauma, this endless, polarization, violence, political instability. So it's good for the government also to, try to, bring the PTI back into the mainstream. It should not shut them out the way, other parties have been shut out for long periods in the past. So for me, dialogue is a way forward, and any trials that have to be held, they should be held in civilian courts.
Right.
Dr. Niaz, I would add a few words to you. One thing, what to talk about the government. That you mentioned that government is not ready to talk to the PTI chairman, Imran Khan. Even Asad Umar is not ready to talk to Imran Khan now. He's not ready to meet him, number one. Number two, I humbly disagree with your argument that the PTI should be brought once again in the mainstream. PTI itself has drawn itself to this extent, led by Imran Khan. And if now Imran Khan, his companions, his workers, all are the culprits, they are now miscreants. They are now considered as terrorists. And the terrorists, the miscreants should be dealt as miscreants. They should not be dealt as the politician, because they did not behave like a politician. A politician is always very responsible as far as the state of the any state is concerned, or the institutions are concerned, or the nation is concerned. So now he is not being dealt as a politician. He is now having cases against himself of sedition, and such cases he will have to face. So the fate of the party, the fate of the chairman is now in the hands of the military courts. And one thing which is very important, one thing is decided which I differ. The thing is this: if the case is decided against any culprit, the culprit will be allowed to go to the high courts or to the Supreme Court for appeal. I don't think it is a wise decision. The appeal should be should go to the armed forces or army chief, because in Army Act or in such cases, the appeal should be
military tribunal.
Should be in the military tribunal headed by the armed forces chief.
Yeah, I want to actually, before Dr. Niaz actually talks about it, Dr.
Right, I'll come to you, Dr. Niaz. Yes, Farrukh.
Dr. Niaz, before Dr. Niaz actually talks about what he wants to, I think that I totally disagree with Naveed Saab. I think it is a wise decision to have, civilian recourse as well to all these trials, because in the end,
civilian courts have no credibility. Farrukh, you know what is the credibility of the Supreme Court and the High Court?
I mean, today
the culprits, they go in the courts and they are acquitted.
Naveed Saab, they might not have today, but they will have as soon as this curtain troika actually goes away. They are a very commendable people in the courts as well. Qazi Faizi also comes to mind. There are umpteen others. I think that we are trying to be a democracy, and we should stick to that. Human rights are important concern for any nation, right?
But Farrukh, it doesn't mean that armed forces are violating the human rights.
No, I totally agree. If somebody does it, but doesn't mean that they should be treated in the same fashion. I mean, if somebody is a suicide bomber, should I go and punish him by being a suicide bomber?
No mercy. No mercy with the culprits of.
Yeah, but here's the problem. The problem is that you have to actually talk about nuances. And in a charged environment, the first casualty, Sana, is the nuances of an issue, right? For example, this insistence that whosoever does this or that is a terrorist, arsonist, seditionist, also are not adjectives that I want, before my name, right? And they're equally hideous. But that doesn't mean that everything has to be the same black color. The only thing is that no matter what you do, in the end, whosoever has done whatever they have done, they will have to face consequences. And this is the most important part of the discussion. And now, with your permission, Sana, I wanted to actually come back to the earlier question you asked about, do you want to ask any question, by the way?
No, we'll just quickly also hear what Dr. Niaz had to say, and I'll come back to you. Yes,
Okay.
Dr. Niaz.
I would also like to point out that I, at least, and many other people who believe in the rule of law and human rights, what happened on May 9th was vandalism, arson, and a lot of other bad things, but it wasn't terrorism. Terrorism is what TTP does, where it sits in its mountains and pre-plans murdering civilians. That's not what PTI does. PTI has done a lot of bad things, but what happened on May 9th was not terrorism. It should not be treated as terrorism. It should be treated as civil commotion, vandalism, arson, etc., and it should be treated under those laws. We have a tendency to use terrorism in a very loose manner in Pakistan, and I hope that will end soon.
Right, absolutely. We'll come to you, Naveed. Yes, Farrukh, you wanted to add something to that previously.
Right. I wanted to talk about PDM's politics. That was also important. Remember that where I sit, I think that PTI's, decline is not going to stop here. It is going to continue until, as was said earlier, that either it is going to be one member party or then it is going to be a Tonga party. Then what happens? Elections eventually are going to take place, right, Sana? But you have to realize what kind of aspects of human psyche PTI actually unlocked. There are promises by all politicians that we are going to actually make life better for you, and that is important. But PTI, I think, went a little further. It went to the populist side, and it said that there's going to be pain, there's going to be discomfort, we are going to call you and you'll have to come, and no matter what happens, you will have to fight because you're going to have a higher purpose. So at this moment, what I'm looking at, looking at the current PDM coalition or the ruling coalition, is that they also start focusing on what people want, right? Start talking to them rather than at them. When this happens, and remember that all political parties, Sana, in Pakistan are, outcomes of privilege. So I haven't seen even Imran Khan actually going into the masses and rubbing his shoulders with the common man. But he had a lot of support from other quarters, right? Dr. Niaz Murtaza was earlier talking about a hybrid system. And this is something that we have been hearing a lot in the past 5 years. But the fact is that Pakistan always had a hybrid system, Sana. When the military was not ruling from directly, it was very close to power, and the civilian government usually used to be susceptible to one push, and they would take over, right? It was the only difference was that you got an army chief who started on record calling it hybrid system, right? Because he wanted appreciation for himself as well. Now the concern right now is that these parties are eventually going to, further grow in appeal. So Imran Khan Sahab might not have done it, but at this moment there is a populist way to appeal to the masses without being aggressively being anti-state, where Imran Khan Sahab actually killed his own politics, right? Imran Khan Sahab's thought, and I tell you, this is going to be the lasting damage to the country's polity. One party was being kept away from power for quite some time, 22 years, and then suddenly it is allowed. When it actually came to power, it went to such extents to stay in power that nobody has ever tried to do that, right? Subverting the constitution, trying to actually send assembly packing just to keep Imran Khan Sahab in power. And when he was pushed out of power, after that he went to unlimited extent to attack the state institutions and everybody. What happened on that day, Sana, May 9th, was a coup attempt, because everyone who was filming and burning things was filming to please one man, and that was Imran Khan. So remember that in coming days, Imran Khan Sahab might actually capsize. But if you want to regain the trust of the masses, you will have to go an extra mile, and that includes all the major parties in PDM.
Okay.
Farrukh,
Naveed, you can add to that, but let me also bring to light what we were earlier discussing and what sort of important factors exist within that conversation also is whether or not whatever is happening is an inevitable or natural result or consequence of what has been going on, and it's not just tit for tat. So what's important is why it's happening. Is it happening just because of tit for tat, or because that's the actual inevitable way of doing things, and whether or not whatever is happening politically is still good for the country and for the progress of the country, that we're not just cutting off our noses just to spite our face. Do you think that this is what the current political setup is considering? And it's important, perhaps, the point that Dr. Niaz was also trying to make.
Sana, first I will answer one point of Farrukh. For 22 years, nobody has kept Imran Khan and his party away from the politics.
No, people
Imran
of
Khan,
Pakistan. They
yes,
didn't trust him,
the
right?
people of Pakistan, they did not take any interest in Imran Khan and his party, and they did not vote for him, and he could not win even a single seat to come in the parliament. And once he came in the parliament, he was the only person of PTI who won his seat. He was not popular enough, but once he was made popular and he was brought in the power, he could not digest all this. He was in trauma. He could not digest it. Number one. Number two is Imran Khan, minus Imran Khan, PTI will be acceptable for Pakistan, for the masses, for everybody, because the change is the mindset of the leader. The mindset of Imran Khan was not suitable for PTI, and the mindset of any other politician.
Do you think that mindset hasn't really trickled down on any of the other party members, and really removing one individual removes it completely?
Definitely, Imran Khan's mindset is a different mindset, and the other politicians who have left Imran Khan has learned a lesson from his mindset, and they know that the way Imran Khan has led the party, if they started leading the party, they will face the same fate. So the party who is now again assembling itself under Jahangir Tareen or his companion Aleem Khan or any other, they are cool and wise enough. They know how to drive the party, how to drive the people, how to go in the politics. They are not as aggressive as Imran Khan unnecessarily has been in the past. So it will become an from allopathic to homeopathic. The party will become from allopathic to homeopathic now.
Okay.
So I think that Jahangir Tareen will lead the party in a better way, and all the companions from Punjab and KPK, they are now are being gathered again under Jahangir Tareen.
I understand. Dr. Niaz, earlier what you talked about in terms of the issue of terrorism being used too loosely, and I understand where you're coming from, but in terms of what has happened and the way that some sort of political element may be involved in it, or the party's leadership must be involved in it, in that scenario, whether or not there is some sort of political element in such an action, do you think that when we talk about possibility of dialogue or possibility of moving forward with the way normal politics do or a democratic process entails, that there is nothing that is not forgivable by any political party or leadership? Do you think that there are certain things which are not forgivable by a party, and so the normal rules may not apply?
Well, for me, terrorism is what TTDP does. It doesn't participate in normal political activities. Its only tool to achieve its political aims of, khilafat is terrorism, which is, sitting in its offices and pre-planning the murder of innocent people. That's terrorism for me. If a party comes out for, a demonstration and it degenerates into civil commotion, you will have to prove that it was all pre-planned and the purpose was to kill people. That I don't think is true for PTI. But beyond that, there are so many other crimes that it has committed, arson, vandalism, violence, destroying public property. But I think we should stay away from things like sedition, mutiny, treason, all those loose, charges that are applied on whoever is, opposing, the establishment. We should, use the normal crimes that have actually happened on the ground, which I have already explained. So I think that's the unfortunate thing. Whoever is in power, Farrukh will remember from 2018 to 2022, I used to sit here in your programs and roast PTI for all the same things that now this government is doing. So, this kind of, political culture has to change. We have to abide by the rule of law. Don't treat our adversaries as enemies, as terrorists, as, mutineers. Treat them as, your opponents who may do crimes. And if they have done crimes, punish them under civilian courts.
Right, absolutely. Thank you very much, Dr. Niaz Murtaza, for joining us. Thank you very much, Naveed, Aman Khan Sahab, for being a part of the discussion. Thank you for being part of the debate. As always, that's all that we have time for. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.